I think there's a huge amount of money, like a phenomenal amount of money, waiting on the sidelines to come into this space.
And what is your timeline? By the end of the year or by the end of October to September?
I think it could do that, but it needs to take out that April high. I think if it takes out the April high, it'll do it really quick.
Hi, this is Alessio. Hope you're well. In a few minutes, I want to show you a discussion I had with my good friend and trader, Charlie Burton, and I want to share with you what Charlie said about the charts of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Now, before we talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum, there's something important I want to mention here. I often get asked, what is the best way to invest? The problem with this question is that it assumes there's some complicated strategy or magic formula to invest in something. Actually, it's quite simple. Most people, when they start investing, forget one important principle, and that is diversification. For example, if you ask most people what is in your portfolio, they'll probably say something like stocks and bonds. Or they might say stocks, bonds, and some gold. And if they want to really show off, they might say some Bitcoin. However, there is one asset class they'll probably never mention, which is art, or contemporary art, like Banksy or Picasso. Now, I should mention that I don't make recommendations to anyone as to what to invest in. This video is only for educational purposes. But as to the question of why we should consider art as an investment in the first place, here's a powerful reason. When the stock market goes up, usually assets that are positively correlated to the stock market, for example, stocks like Apple, Tesla, and cryptos like Bitcoin, they also normally go up when the stock market goes up. The reverse is also true. When stock markets crash and go down, those assets also go down with them due to the positive correlation. So this is why we look at art or contemporary art as an alternative investment, because it turns out that art prices have a correlation of only 0.3 to other major assets. That is a very low correlation. This means that if stock markets were to go up or down, it is less likely for art prices to be affected by such huge volatility. Also, it should be noted that while most stock markets dropped last year in 2022, art prices appreciated in value by an average of 29%. Now, I know what you may be thinking. Come on, Alessio. Art is only for the mega rich, the billionaires who have the money to do that kind of expensive investment. Well, a few years ago, I would have said the same thing too. But then I realized it's possible for ordinary people like me to invest in art as well. The same way that billionaires do. And it's even simpler than I thought. You see, Masterworks is the platform where you can learn how to invest in multi-million-dollar paintings without breaking the bank. Masterworks has over 700,000 users, and they've sold over $45 million worth of art to date, returning the net proceeds to their investors. Masterworks offers art from legends like Picasso, which is securitized with the SEC and then broken into shares. Then, when they sell a painting, the investor gets a slice of the potential return. To date, each of their 13 exits has delivered a positive return to their investors. Getting started with Masterworks is really easy. It takes only a few clicks. You go to their website, create an account, browse their artwork, and then you can learn how to diversify your portfolio with one of the most stable and strong assets in the world. You can get priority access by clicking the link in the description. Remember that any money we get from sponsors is given to charity. Alright guys, let's get back to the video and my discussion with trader Charlie Burton about Bitcoin and Ethereum.
In this video, I want to ask one more time, Charlie, which is the bet that we made a long time ago. And some of you actually gave him a lot of heat for that, because he said, if you recall, I think it was December of last year, that if Bitcoin makes all-time highs in 2023, this year, he will eat his hat. So far, Charlie has been winning. So we're going to dig into the charts of Bitcoin and Ethereum, both charts in this particular video from a long-term perspective. And what does he think? What are the odds that Charlie will have to eat his hat?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll have to sharpen my teeth if it starts getting up a bit too high. But yeah, there's one thing with this bet, that when I did this last year and said I'll eat my hat if it goes to new highs in 2023, is, well, what if I am right? What do I get? You know, yeah. I've got to eat my hat if I'm wrong. Well, if I am right, I want some form of prize. I need a gift of something, you know. So we'll have to come up with something.
I don't know. What do you guys think? What do you think Charlie would deserve if he's right about that? Let us know in the comments. I agree with you on this. I've agreed it before. I don't think it's likely we're going to see all-time highs near 69K this year. But what about next year in 2024? What are the odds of that?
Well, it's interesting you asked that, because at the moment we've got this squeeze on some of the exchanges with from a regulatory perspective, with the SEC slapping fines on Binance and Coinbase, you know, and this whole battle that seems to be going on between those big, large exchanges and the SEC. Usually the SEC wins. Let's just make a note of that. Usually if the SEC start getting their teeth into something, they normally win the war. For the longer term, once the SEC has sort of cleared out whatever it wants to do and imposed more regulations into the crypto environment, I think there's a huge amount of money, like a phenomenal amount of money, waiting on the sidelines to come into this space. And there's a number of ETFs which are sat with the SEC at the moment, waiting for approval in the future. I can't see that happening this year, but possibly 2024. And once you start getting exchange traded funds, becoming more broader in this space, then that's going to attract a lot more of the serious money. Although there is serious money, but as investors, serious money, because large investors don't want to take risks by putting money with an exchange where their money could disappear or that type of thing. So there's a huge amount of money on the sidelines, which will come in as things like exchange traded funds come online, as and when I don't know when that's going to be, but when they do start to come in line. Coming back to the first part of your question there, where Bitcoin could go to, all-time highs would be on the cards at some point in the next couple of years, yes.
And I think actually, because we know one thing we've seen in the past is there's an old phrase, right, which I'm sure everybody knows, you know it yourself, Charlie. They say, buy on the rumor, sell on the news. If I'm right, and I remain bullish on Bitcoin anyway, I've remained bullish so far. I remain bullish and positive on Bitcoin, at least for the next 6 to 12 months, going at least to the end of this year. And if I'm right, and as long as Bitcoin stays above support, then I think that Bitcoin probably will move much higher before the regulation happens, before the regulatory thing happens with the SEC. Because as I've seen before, usually news of the event actually happens a lot after the rally is already taking place.
Yeah, just talking big picture stuff, that I think that's very much a bullish thing. I'm not maybe quite as bullish as you for this year. I think, yes, technically, if, as you've already said, if Bitcoin can break up through sort of certainly 27,000 sort of area to 30,000, highly bullish if we can do that. But I'm not holding out for any major runs to the upside this year personally. But again, that's my personal view.
I would say this, though, that if Bitcoin does take out the April highs, I think it was the April highs near 30K, which I'm expecting. I think that's the more likely probability. That's where, at the moment that we're making this video, Bitcoin is hovering about 26K approximately. So I think once we get above that 30K, that would completely reject the kiss of death bearish case and sharpen and increase the likelihood for that bullish case, which I'm still expecting, even though we haven't taken that level out, even though we haven't taken out the April highs yet. That's what I'm expecting, provided Bitcoin does not drop below 20K or 22K, which I think is a lower probability in any case. I'm not expecting that. But let's go to talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum very quickly. Let's just talk about Bitcoin and Ethereum.
So
okay, go ahead.
It's an interesting level there. So we were discussing this whole level here. What was that? Late last year, 2022, and then earlier this year as well. And then we've just come back. So we've broken up through that level. We've come back down to test it. Technically, it's quite a nice level. Looking at that there.
Okay, here's a question I want to ask you. If Bitcoin does not go all-time highs near 69K, then where do you think is the more likely probability? Personally, for me, I think it's 40K, approximately at the minimum. I'm looking for a minimum move towards 40K. But what about you? What do you think?
Well, I think that you can see just about, I've got a dotted line here which measures up. We came up to the lows here of 2021 when we made this high here earlier on, just a couple of months or so ago. The next level is going to be, for me, technically, is these lows here. And that comes in around 34,000 or so. So for me, around about 34, if we breach the highs made from back in April, then 34 is the next, for me, the next sort of technical level.
Interesting. Okay, thanks very much for that. And what is your timeline? By the end of the year or by the end of October to September?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could do that, but it needs to take out that April high. I think if it takes out the April high, it'll do it really quick. I think it could do it really quite quick. If you get it back up to 30,000, it may ponder around that area, but probably within a couple of months, it could, Bitcoin's like it could do it within a space of a couple of days, really. But so if we do get up to those 30,000 highs, then and breach those, then I think to get to 34, it wouldn't take a huge amount. I think the hardest thing for me at the moment, as far as what I'm seeing, is even if we go to 34 or we go up to 40,000, let's say you're that next level as well, which corresponds to this low back here from September 21. I can't see it going much higher than 40,000. And so
for this year. For this year, you're talking about?
Yeah, for this year. So there is some upside potential, but I still think it's probably limited this year.
Okay.
Again,
But probably next year much higher. Yeah. If the bullish case continues, that is.
Yes. Yeah, I think if we can get to 40,000, 40,000 has been quite a key level, as we know, historically over the last couple of years. If we get back to the 40,000 area, or certainly healthily into the 30,000s, it starts to build again another base to then launch from sort of Everest base camp up to Camp 2, Camp 3, and Camp 4. So yeah, if we can get up to that sort of zone, then it really does offer that base to leap higher. But I'm just not expecting it, to go that high this year. But certainly going into next year, 2024, then things could start getting interesting. Yeah, definitely.
And Ethereum, very quickly, we just covered a chart of Ethereum as well.
Similar sort of chart, isn't it, really? So if I just bring up Ethereum here, again, it's broken out from a technical perspective. I've just got a weekly chart on here, but from a technical perspective, we've got, these sort of highs here. We've broken out and we've pulled back into those prior highs. And again, it's sort of settling at the moment. So it's in a good area. It's in a reasonable area to let's see if it can, like Bitcoin, if it can start to break higher. So technically, it doesn't have to go any lower. And likewise with Bitcoin, we just now need a bit more confirmation if it is going to be going higher.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think Ethereum is showing signs of a potential bottoming formation there, and the recent drop that we had and the recent bounce. So I think Ethereum and Bitcoin are getting close to potential bottoming formation, provided we can maintain above that recent low that it made there, obviously. But I agree with you. We need to see confirmation above the resistance.
Hi, this is Alessio from the future here. Since the recording of that video, Bitcoin has managed to nicely move above resistance at 27K, as we can see here. So it's broken above resistance, and that is a positive sign. And in fact, this breakout above resistance has now increased the probability, or confirmed our analysis of Bitcoin, and probably Ethereum as well, provided we stay above the June lows. Okay, let's get back to the video.
And guys, if you haven't already done this, make sure you do it, which is Charlie runs a fantastic service, his membership, his gold level membership. If you haven't already taken up the offer that he made, go on this link. That's charlieburtontrading.com/LTGold. And then you apply the promo code LTGold and you get the nice discount. Take it for a test drive. I don't think you'd be disappointed. I think you're going to like it very much. And Charlie just explained very quickly what's involved. And actually, it's quite interesting, Charlie, you were saying to me earlier that a number of your own students, a number of your own traders are, right now managing funds. And tell us more about that.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I train traders within a trading community, and I'm online with them every day of the week, or Monday to Friday, in my online trading room. And yes, some of my members are money managers now, or fund managers. One of them, who himself, his best trade last year, he made $233,000 on. So a great trade he had there. He's just signed a deal with he's based in the Middle East. He's just signed a deal with a bank over there to manage funds over there in excess of 100 million. So yeah, he's just using the techniques that essentially that I've taught him over the years. And I trained him several years ago personally. But he's still a member of my community to this day. And I think that's a really important thing, that these people are, now I have people who have got experience right the way up to 30 odd years worth of trading experience. They don't need me, but it's still nice being part of a community, because trading can be quite a lonely thing. And to have that guide, same with what you have with your members, to have that, just general guidance to help them. And they like being part of a community because it's lonely on your own. But the people in my community have full-time jobs, so they can't be in the trading room itself all of the time with me. They can cherry pick whenever they want to come in. Everything's recorded. All my sessions are recorded. So, and that suits a lot of our members. So, but yeah, it's really about serious traders. This is not some get-rich-quick scheme. And so it's about people who are serious about their trading and wealth generation over the longer term.
Fantastic. Great. Thanks very much, Charlie. I appreciate that. Guys, I'll put the link for you guys in the description. Check it out. And I'll see you guys in the next video update. Cheers.